Once upon a time, there was a king who liked to make rules. There were rules about tulips and rules about roses. There were rules about eyebrows and rules about noses. Rules about keys and rules about locks. Rules about shoes and rules about socks. Everybody in the country had to do what the rules said.
Except me!
In that country lived three friends who didn't like so many rules. There was Shiver, who was always cold. He loved to warm himself by a fire.
No fires in January, February, or March. Fires are for the summer.
But the king had so many rules about where and when and how to make fires that most of the time Shiver was cold. Shiver had a friend called Gobble. He was always hungry. But the king had many rules about eating.
No eating cookies with your left hand. Apples are for Thursday, and absolutely no donuts in the kingdom.
The third friend was called Snore. He loved to sleep.
What? No sleeping while walking. And the only person in this kingdom who can snore is His Majesty, the King.
One day, these three friends made up their minds to go away. They set out to find a place where they could live without any rules. Finally, they found a lovely wild land where there were no rules at all. And here they settled down. They built their houses the way they wanted. They planted their garden the way they wanted. One day, Gobble was hungry. He went to an apple tree in Snore's garden and filled his basket with apples.
Wait a minute. Those are my apples.
I can eat whatever I want. We don't have any rules about what to eat and what not to eat.
If you come near my apple tree again, I'll hit you.
One day, on his way home, Shiver made a big fire right near Gobble's house.
You can't make your fire there. You're scorching my donut.
I can make a fire wherever I want. We don't have any rules about fires.
That is for your fire, and that's for you.
Now, for a while, Snore was happy in the land without rules, but his neighbors weren't.
I can't stand that snoring any longer. Listen, you're keeping me up at night. Either stop snoring or cover your head with pillows. I can snore all I want. We don't have any rules about that here.
This made Shiver so angry that he made a giant noisemaker out of pots and pans.
If you keep me awake, I'll keep you awake too.
So matters went from bad to worse in the wild land without any rules. Because there were no rules against taking other people's apples, Snore was so busy guarding his apple tree, he didn't dare take his afternoon nap. Whenever he snored at night, the noisemaker woke him up. He was sleepier than ever. Gobble was so busy putting out Shiver's fires that he hardly had time to grow food in his garden. He was hungrier than ever. And Shiver was colder than ever.
Listen, something must be done. We came here because we didn't like the king's rules. But now I'm just as hungry as ever.
And I'm just as cold. And I'm twice as sleepy.
How about if we made up our own rules? Just a few important ones to help us live together without fighting.
and we'd all have to follow them. Not like the king who didn't have to follow his rules.
So the three friends talked it over and decided on some rules. No eating apples from someone else's tree. No making fires near somebody else's house. No keeping people awake with noisy snoring. Everybody could still do what he wanted as long as it wasn't bad for someone else. Today, people who live together make rules which everyone has to follow. These are called laws. There are laws about crossing streets, about driving cars, about keeping places clean, about stealing, and about many other things. People cannot live together without good, sensible laws. That's what Shiver, Gobble, and Snore found out once upon a time when they tried to live with no rules at all.
Once upon a time, long ago and far away, there was a little kingdom named Snark. It had a king who made the laws and collected taxes. His name was King Boris. But the people of Snark always called him Bad Boris. Bad Boris did not make good laws that helped the people of Snark live peacefully and fairly. He made laws that helped nobody but himself. One of these laws was about cats. Because Bad Boris hated cats, he made a law for everyone in Snark that said, no cats allowed anywhere. Out! Bad Boris made the people of Snark pay a lot of money in taxes. But he did not use the tax money for things that the people needed. He used the tax money to buy himself a fine carriage. One day, Bad Boris was walking in his garden. Suddenly, he saw a little kitten sitting beside the goldfish pond. A cat! Cats are forbidden! I hate cats! Oh! That was the end of Bad Boris. When the people of Snark heard that King Boris was gone, not a single one of them shed a tear. But they were left with a problem. Usually when a king expires, his son becomes king. But King Boris had no sons. He had no daughters, nor uncles, nor aunts, nor nieces, nor nephews. Who then would now be king of Snark? The Snarkians gathered in the town square to decide. Should it be the strongest person in the kingdom? Well, that would be Ben the blacksmith. Should it be the richest person in the kingdom? That would be Barnaby the banker. Should it be the funniest person? That would be Frankie the fisherman. How could they know who would be a good king? Once they picked a king, he could do anything he wanted, and they would be stuck with him. That was the trouble.
I have an idea how to make sure we can get a good and fair king,
said Stephen the storekeeper.
Let's all be kings. If we all were kings, we would never make unfair laws, because those laws would be for all of us. Also, we would never cheat with the tax money.
Because we'd only be cheating ourselves.
We'd have to be fair if we were all kings.
It's a splendid solution.
And so it happened. The next day was the grand coronation. Every man and woman of Snark was crowned a king. And since they were all to be kings, they had to crown each other. Everyone was immensely pleased to be a king. So the Kings of Snark met for the serious business of deciding how to spend their tax money. To their dismay, they found that everyone had his own ideas, and no two ideas were exactly alike. Instead, they talked and talked, and argued and argued. But since each was a king, each insisted on having his own way. Ouch! And to make matters worse, after the weary day of debate, Barnaby the banker returned to his bank with his mind so filled with the quarreling of the day that he could not think straight. Each time he tried to count his money, he lost his place and had to start all over again. When Stephen the storekeeper came back to his store, he found that mice had gnawed right through the wall and were carrying off his best cheese. And poor Ben the blacksmith returned to find that half his shop had burned to the ground.
I must take care of my business. I have no time to be king.
And with that, he turned in his crown and robe. When Stephen the storekeeper heard what Ben had done, he said,
I also cannot afford the time to be king.
Off came his robe and crown. Barnaby the banker felt the same way. Now, all of us kings have accomplished nothing at all. Just a waste of time and money. I must have a clear head to add up my accounts. Suddenly there was a storm of voices. We win! The pile of royal garments reached the sky. Suddenly everyone looked around in amazement. There was not a single king left. We must have a king. Who would it be? No one knew. Then Timothy the teacher spoke up.
Obviously, all of us cannot be king. And if only one of us is king, then we run the risk of getting another king like Bad Boris. And we don't want that. It would be okay to have one king if we did not allow him to do only what he wants. You are right. His power should be no greater than is necessary to serve our needs. Also, every few years, we will choose a new king, or keep the old one if he's doing a good job. That way, we'd still all be kings, in a way. But how would we pick this king?
Oh, I know. We'll have an election, that's what we'll do.
But how can we know who will be the best one for the job of king? We'll let each person who wants to be king tell the people his ideas and why he thinks he'd be a good king. Then we'll all decide.
And so it happened. Ben the blacksmith wanted to be king because he was the strongest. Barnaby the banker because he was the richest. Frankie the fisherman because he was the funniest. But the people of Snark voted for someone else. They all voted for Timothy the teacher because he was the wisest and the fairest. They knew he would be the best king for everyone. King Timothy was such a good king that every time the people of Snark had an election, they voted for King Timothy for as long as he lived. Today, we also have elections to pick the leaders of our country. We call the people who want to become the leaders candidates. Each candidate tells the people his ideas. He promises the people what laws he would try to make and how he would use the money from taxes if he were elected. And then the people vote for the candidate they think would be best. But once a candidate is elected, he cannot just do whatever he wants. He has to keep his promises. Otherwise, the people will vote for a better person in the next election. When the people are free to vote for their leaders, then all the people are still in charge. Just as the people of Snark, once upon a time, long ago and far away.
Once, long ago, there was a town that had no policeman. There was a clothes maker, a house builder, and his son Alexander who helped him, a sandal maker, a basket maker, a baker, and a farmer. There was also a thief in town.
Stop, thief! He stole one of my baskets.
He stole one of my loaves of bread.
He's stolen things from everyone.
We'll call a town meeting.
Oh, it's a very serious matter. Somebody must catch the thief before he steals again. Now, who will volunteer?
Not me. I have to water my plants and take my food to market.
Me? Catch a thief? I have to cut and make clothes.
I want it clearly understood that I am a baker, not a thief catcher. Who's it going to be?
We've got to catch the thief.
Who'll do it? Friends, don't get excited. There must be a way. Above all, don't get excited.
I don't know why he gets so excited.
I have just had an idea. What we need is a full-time policeman. Someone to catch the thief and then guard our goods and keep us safe.
Good idea.
That's what we need, all right.
All right, friends. Who shall it be?
Oh, not me. To earn money, I have to make sandals all day. How about your son, Builder?
Alexander?
Yeah, he's strong and smart. He could be our policeman. How about that?
What do you say, son?
Well, Father, you know I've never been too fond of house building, but if I become a policeman, how would I get money? You, Mr. Basket Maker, you make and sell baskets to earn money. And you, Mr. Farmer, you grow and sell fruit and vegetables to get money. All of you sell something to get money. If I were your policeman, I'd have nothing to sell like you fellows.
Yes, that's a problem.
I have an idea, but, well, maybe it won't work, though.
Go ahead. Tell us.
Well, if each of us gave a little bit of the money that we make growing, selling, and fixing things together, there'd be enough to pay the young man to be our policeman. He would work for all of us. So, all of us would help pay him money to buy the things he needs.
Good idea.
I'm willing.
Yeah, excellent.
Then I'm your policeman.
Good.
Then it's settled.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Here's my money.
Here's mine.
Here's mine.
They called the little bit of money that everyone gave taxes. When all the tax money was put together, it was as much as the others got for making and growing and selling things. And Alexander did make a good policeman.
Uh-oh.
All right, on your feet. Now, come with me. You'll have to return the things you stole.
All right. Everything was the wrong size anyway.
The thief took back all the things he had stolen, except for the farmer's tomatoes. It was too late for that. So he had to work for the farmer for 3 days to make up for the stolen tomatoes. Today, in every city and town, there are some people who work for everybody at the same time. People like policemen, firemen, teachers, garbage collectors, and mailmen. They work for everybody and are paid by taxes collected from everyone. Just like the taxes that made it possible for that little town long ago to have a policeman. And that made everyone happy. Well, almost everyone. Once, long ago, there was a fisherman. But he didn't fish just for fun. He used the fish he caught to trade for things he needed for himself and his family. What he needed right now, most of all, was a new sharp knife to cut himself loose. Since there was no money in those days, he couldn't buy a knife. So he took the fish and went to the knife maker to see if he could make a trade.
Good morning, Mr. Knife Maker. Here's a nice fresh fish I just caught. I'll trade it to you for a good sharp knife.
I've already traded 2 knives for fish this morning. Look there. How many fish do you think I can eat in one day? What I need is a new hat to keep the sun out of my eyes. My old hat fell in the fire yesterday. Bring me a new hat, and I'll give you a sharp knife.
Very well, Mr. Knife Maker. I'll go to the hat maker.
So the fisherman took his fish and went to the hat maker to see if he could make a trade.
Mr. Hat Maker, I'll trade you this nice fresh fish for one of your hats. Then I can trade the hat to the knife maker for a good sharp knife.
Well, fisherman, I'd like to oblige you. Really, I would. But this morning a man already traded me a fish for a hat. Now, if you were offering me a loaf of bread to go with my fish, well, we might make a trade.
It's a long way to the baker's, but I'll go and see if he'll trade with me.
So the fisherman set out for the baker.
Mr. Baker, please trade me a loaf of bread for my nice fresh fish so I can trade it to the hat maker for a hat. Then I can trade the hat to the knife maker for a knife.
Well,
We don't need a fish. I caught one this morning. What we need is a new pot. Ours is cracked. Bring a new pot and maybe we can talk about a trade.
So the fisherman took his fish to the potter's shop.
Oh, please, Mr. Potter, trade me a pot for my fish so I can trade it to the baker for a loaf of bread. Then I can trade the bread to the hat maker for a hat and trade the hat to the knife maker for a good, sharp knife.
Not a bad-sized fish. It smells good and fresh. I could have it for my lunch. Very well, fisherman. It's a trade.
So the fisherman took the pot from the pot maker and traded it to the baker, or the baker's wife, for a loaf of bread, which he traded to the hat maker for a new hat, which he gave to the knife maker.
It fits pretty well. And it's nice and soft. All right, Fisherman. Here's one of my best and sharpest knives.
Thank you, Mr. Knife Maker. Now I can cut myself loose.
Sit down. You look tired, Fisherman. You must have had to make a lot of trades before you found someone who wanted your fish.
Oh, yes. Everyone needs something, but it's not always a fish.
I know. Trading sometimes takes me so long that I hardly have time to make knives.
You know, it would be a lot easier if instead of everybody trading different things, they could all use one special thing for trading.
What do you mean? What kind of special thing could everyone use?
It would have to be something really special. Something you couldn't find just anywhere. Like little bits of precious metal. Gold or silver or copper. Then people would trade them for the fish they caught, or the bread they baked, or the pots or knives they made.
Not a bad idea. We wouldn't have to do all this trading. If you needed a knife, you'd come straight to me. And if I needed a hat, I'd go straight to the hat maker.
And what a great deal of time and trouble we would save.
So the fisherman and the knife maker talked to all the people who lived and worked in their village about the new idea.
Ooh, what a great idea. Yes, I think it would work.
Why didn't we think of it before?
The idea spread, and soon everyone began using small pieces of precious metal for their trading. Some pieces were worth more than others, and were stamped with marks which told their weight and value. Many were stamped with fancy designs. These were called coins. Nowadays, we use coins too, to trade for things we need. We also use paper money. Today, a fisherman still catches fish, but he sells his fish for money. And if he finds that he needs a knife, it's a simple matter to go to the store and buy one. Oh, well, it's a fairly simple matter.
Learning Corporation of America presents the first home video release of prestigious programming from the LCA Library of Award-winning Entertainment. 13 impressive programs that spark the imagination and allow a family to grow together. LCA is unsurpassed excellence in family entertainment, from children's classics to contemporary productions, with great writers, great directors, great stories, and great stars. LCA has it all. Where did you come from?
I was brought special delivery by the stork.
Where did you come from?
Mom found me one day in a hamburger.
Then where did I come from? Based on the best-selling book that makes learning about sex fun. From the difference between a man and a woman, to fertilization, to the moment of birth. They're the facts of life in language children can understand. It's a playful romp through nature that helps Mom and Dad explain the birds and the bees without the embarrassment. Where did I come from?
I wasn't even thinking about running away or nothing, but my dad once told me if I ever got caught selling pot, I'd never come home because he'd kill me.
Oh, take care of all of my children. you're gonna be downtown, you're gonna be cool. You better learn the ways of the street.
Don't let them wander and roll.
My father got tired of me and my sister. He told me to leave.
Keep them together at the sundown, safe from the devil's hand.
I think it is very strange that older men like little girls.
You gotta make them a pillow on the hard ground.
Oh, I think I hit the jackpot.
I'll be going out to Beulah land.
Patty Munchkin or a team, that's the way they work the best. A street couple that are struggling to survive.
They've taken to the street and made it their home.
We're wise out here, man.
This is their story. Nominated for an Academy Award, Streetwise. They were a family without a mother, in a home without joy, until one day a little magic came their way.
We are waiting for you at Fantocini.
And brought their dreams to life.
Makers of robots from time immemorial.
Guido Fantocini at your service. I believe you're looking for something in a grandmother.
She was made to order.
I want a grandma who can sing songs and tell bedtime stories.
Their every wish fulfilled.
The only limit to what a machine can do is the limit of one's own imagination.
All they had to do was turn the key. With her heavenly powers.
Hand me the clothes. We'll send them up to be washed by the clouds and dried by the wind.
And her magnetic personality. She had enough love to last a lifetime.
I'll be here forever and ever. I'll always be here when you need me.
Maureen Stapleton stars in the Emmy-nominated fantasy by Ray Bradbury, The Electric Grandmother. Rudyard Kipling amused himself by making up stories. Just so stories. Not always true, but always fun.
Very nice.
Like the long and short of how the elephant got his trunk.
Will you please tell me what you have for dinner?
I think I'll begin with Elephant Child.
The child's bad luck soon became the envy of the jungle.
What have you done to your nose?
I asked the crocodile in the Limpopo River what he had for dinner, and he gave me this to keep.
And the crocodile was in business. Or how the whale got his throat from a crafty sailor who hated to stay for dinner. But he left a little something behind. Now the whale's dining on fish again.
What do I do now?
And when the first letter was written, it was for very practical reasons.
You just show this picture to her, and she will give you Daddy's spear.
But it was open to interpretation. Tales of whales and others that spark the imagination. Rudyard Kipling's classic stories. It's a story of power, of those who sought it, those who got it, and how they used it.
Now is the time to buy.
J.P. Morgan, Henry Ford, John D. Rockefeller, and FDR.
A state of war has existed between the United States and the Japanese Empire.
These great men took America by the hand and led her into the 20th century. From the first automobile, through the glory days of Hollywood, to the franchise era.
McDonald's took the hamburger and put it on the production line, so to speak.
It's history, seen through the eyes of the movers and the shakers.
We either had to win this one or fail as a company.
Narrated by Orson Welles. The Lions of Capitalism. Kids are on their own a lot today.
Here at Safety Central, we learn to use the best survival weapon we have, our knowledge.
But what should they do when a stranger comes to the door?
There's a man trying to break in the front door of my apartment. I'm home alone.
Perfect, Jack.
Or if there's a fire in the house.
Try stuffing something under the door to keep the smoke out of the room.
Or a medical emergency.
Have you ever cut yourself and then felt sick to your stomach or dizzy when you stood up? Well, those are symptoms of shock. Shock can be as dangerous as the injury.
You may feel frightened, but in order to help the injured person, remain calm.
Good.
Practicing home safety can be fun and easy with Gary Coleman and the experts.
Everyone will be happy you used your good judgment.
Gary Coleman's For Safety's Sake, Home Safe Home. Something's troubling Amy.
I hate the way I look. I'm not pretty. I don't have any friends.
She's really thinking about killing herself?
No one alive can help her. So he's got the job.
I haven't driven in over 30 years.
That's before you were born.
No, that's when I died.
Who are you?
I'm Oliver, your guardian angel.
And she can't believe it.
This isn't happening. This is just some sort of crazy dream.
But this angel's not giving up.
You can't just walk off and leave me!
Until he satisfies the heavenly people up above. James Earl Jones.
You get only one chance.
And Hermione Gingo
You'll have to prove yourself worthy.
will give him his wings for giving her a whole lot more.
Hallelujah!
In the Emmy Award-nominated Amy and the Angel. Meet Shiver, Gobble, and Snore. They're about to learn the lessons of life with a little help from their friends. Like the fisherman who needed a knife. He had a hard time trading for one.
We don't need a fish.
After much trouble, he knew there had to be a better way.
You know, it would be a lot easier if instead of everybody trading different things, they could all use one special thing for trading.
And money became the answer. When King Boris died, there was no one to take his place.
Let's all be kings.
And a new idea was born.
We'll have an election, that's what we'll do.
Now everyone has a chance to be the King of Snark. For every evil under the sun,
Stop, thief!
there is a cure or there is none.
What we need is a full-time policeman.
If I become a policeman, how would I get money?
All of us would help pay him money to buy the things he needs.
That's how the town that had no policeman got one.
Come with me.
Then there was a king who made everyone follow his silly rules.
Except me.
So Shiver, Gobble, and Snore took off to a land where there were none.
How about if we made up our own rules?
But when harmony became chaos, there was a need for law and order. Fables of laws and rules for all, from kings to peasants to Shiver, Gobble, and Snore. The year is 1692, Salem, Massachusetts, a time when Puritan law ruled the land and free thought was a deadly sin.
My uncle has a book he keeps hidden. It tells all about witches. It's about this witch in Boston who puts spells on 4 young girls. She makes them to lose their speech and make sounds like animal sounds.
Secret stories from a Barbados slave add fuel to the young girl's curiosity.
In Barbados on some hot night, some certain hot night when there is no wind, but underneath your skin you can feel yourself burning like fire.
No more, please! We'll be damned, Abby! We'll be damned to hell!
And the hysteria begins.
They're bewitched. The devil is here with us, I know it.
Tell us who torments you.
I see Bridget Bishop.
I see Rebecca Nurse.
Now many will die before sanity is restored.
Gospel witch.
I am innocent. Oh, God, help me!
Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live.
The kingdom.
The devil is never more evil than when he appears an angel of light.
And the glory forever.
The Witches of Salem. They came in search of the American dream.
Welcome to America.
Filled with hope for a better life.
Tata, I'm learning American. Good luck. All right. I know Greenhorn.
It was a personal voyage of freedom.
We have good luck in America.
But there would be pain.
Father has had an accident at work. He has a broken hip.
As well as joy.
Nick. Rick. Now you know how.
It was a journey that would take a lifetime.
I'm gonna be American.
The immigrant experience. The long, long journey. From one of our most gifted storytellers, Harry Allard, comes 2 of his most popular fables.
How about a nice story?
Miss Nelson is a very nice teacher.
Now settle down.
Who's at odds with a not-so-nice class.
I'm gonna make the biggest spitball ever.
But when she mysteriously disappears, a mean teacher takes her place.
There will be no story hour today.
She's really the pits.
Now her children want her back.
Where is Miss Nelson?
Never mind that.
Miss Nelson is missing. Then, a rollicking tale of a lonely old man, his very old pets.
I'm very, very old.
and a fun-loving wolf
Did you advertise for a charming companion, old man?
who lifts up their spirits
He made me dance. I don't feel so old anymore.
and changes their lives.
We really shouldn't judge wolves by their appearance.
Academy Award nominated It's So Nice to Have a Wolf Around the House. Plus, Miss Nelson is Missing. 2 delightful stories from the fables of Harry Allard.
Put me down!
The Secret of Sullivan's Island is about to be shattered.
If you go back to the mainland and tell anyone you did see us, you'll regret it.
Haunted by legends of buried treasure.
Captain Kidd buried a treasure there. Only there's no sense looking for it. Because he put a curse on it when they hanged him.
He knew he had to go back.
For years, I've dreamed of only one thing, to make good my family's debts, to redeem our ancient and noble name. And now I can, but only with your help.
Together, they would unravel the clues.
Kidd wrote a message with a special ink. It becomes visible only when applied to heat.
And face the danger that stood between them and the fortune of their dreams.
It's out there. Somewhere.
The legacy of Edgar Allan Poe is brought to life in the Emmy Award-winning tale of mystery and suspense, starring Anthony Michael Hall, The Gold Bug. The Brothers Grimm have fascinated children of all ages with their enchanting stories. One most remembered is that of the little girl who had a rather unpleasant trip to Grandma's house.
Come here, Red Riding Hood. Take this basket of food to Grandmother.
But when she arrived at the house deep in the forest, Grandma wasn't quite herself.
But Grandmother, what big teeth you have. The better to eat you up with, my dear.
Soon she was rescued from the clutches of the crafty wolf and lived happily ever after. Then an evil witch takes revenge on an innocent family and turns their 7 sons into 7 ravens who flew away. Now their sister must find them.
Can you tell me how to find my brothers, the 7 ravens?
Her search took her beyond the sun,
Oh, son, where can I find my brothers?
beyond the moon and the stars, to a crystal castle where her brothers were waiting to be set free. The 7 Ravens and Little Red Riding Hood. The magic is still alive today in the Brothers Grimm fairy tales. LCA is here. A premier collection of award-winning entertainment. From the timeless stories you'll always remember, to the critically acclaimed programs you've been waiting to see. It's quality entertainment you know you can trust. A whole new world is waiting for you with LCA.